on not being able to count on people. 1. The broken thread. There is a thread in human life more fragile than silk and yet more necessary than breath. It is spun whenever one person turns to another and says, I will be there at 9. I will bring what you need. I will change the dosage. That thread, once spoken, binds the lives of two people together. A promise is not a decoration. It is not a casual phrase. It is a bridge across time, carrying one soul's dependence upon another's future act. When that bridge collapses, the fall is hard. And when the collapse is followed not by true repair, but by the triviality of, oh, sorry, the fall turns into rage, because one sees that not only the act failed, but the very meaning of words has been hollowed. It is this hollowing you feel now in your hospital bed. It is why your fury is not just at Terry, not just at the doctor, but at people themselves. Fucking people kill me, for they kill the thread of trust, which is the lifeline by which we live together. 2. The apology as escape. The word sorry has two lives. One is sacred. It is the bowing of the soul, the recognition of the wound inflicted, and the commitment to repair it. That sorry carries weight. It bends the spine, it looks the other in the eye, but the other life of sorry, the one most people know, is nothing more than an escape hatch. It is a way of saying, I wish to be free of consequence. This sorry is not about you, the one left waiting in the hospital bed. It is about them, the one who failed. They wish to wash their conscience with a quick rinse, so that they can go on, light as before. Their sorry does not carry you, it carries them. And so you sit, without the things you needed, without the change in dosage, but with the added insult of being asked to carry their absolution. The false apology is not the healing of betrayal, it is the continuation of it. 3. Hospital time. In a hospital, every hour matters. In ordinary life, delay is inconvenience. If a friend shows up 2 hours late for dinner, it irritates, but one still eats. In a hospital, delay is torment. If the doctor says at 9:39 a.m. that the dosage will be changed, and noon arrives without change, it is not simply late, it is pain unalleviated, it is suffering prolonged. The hospital thickens time. Each minute is weighted with waiting, and in that wait, the casualness of other people's delays becomes intolerable. Their negligence is amplified by the context. And here the rage deepens, because the very place that should embody reliability, the hospital, reveals itself as yet another theater of human unreliability. The nurse says, I'll be back in 10 minutes. 40 minutes later, nothing. The doctor promises swift change. Hours pass. And then, perhaps, the words, oh, sorry, the institution designed to heal is haunted by the same weakness as ordinary life. And when one is sick, one cannot shrug it off. One feels it as violence. 4. The anatomy of betrayal. To see why this cuts so deeply, we must examine the anatomy of betrayal. A betrayal requires 3 things. 1. A promise or expectation. 2. A failure to fulfill it. 3. The discovery that the one who failed does not fully bear the weight of that failure. This is why betrayal is not simply about absence. If Terry had said nothing, if he had never promised to come first thing, you might have felt longing, perhaps disappointment, but not betrayal. Betrayal only arises because he spoke. He created the groove in time, and you rested your hope in it. And when he failed, and followed it with, oh, sorry, the wound doubled. Because he not only abandoned the act, he abandoned the gravity of the promise itself. He treated the collapse as trivial. Thus betrayal is intimate violence. It is the overturning of trust at its most vulnerable point. And that is why it breeds hate. 5. The loneliness of reliability. Those who keep their word are often the loneliest. They know what it means to be counted on, and they carry the burden of being reliable. They wake on time. They arrive when they say they will. They do what they promised, even when inconvenient. And because they do, they imagine others will do the same. But others so often do not. And so the reliable are betrayed again and again. They discover that they are alone in the seriousness with which they take words. Their loneliness is not physical but moral. They live in a desert of fidelity. Your anger now is the cry of that loneliness. It is the recognition that you take words seriously and others do not. That is why you hate people, not because you despise humanity, but because you long for a humanity that does not exist. 6. The ontology of promises. What is a promise? A promise is not merely a prediction of what one will do. It is not the same as saying, it might rain tomorrow. A promise is an act of creation. It creates an expectation that did not exist before. It shapes the future in the mind of another. This is why broken promises hurt more than accidents. If the sky suddenly rains, no one feels betrayed. But if someone says, "I will bring you water," and does not, the wound is sharp, because they made you believe in a reality that never came. Thus every promise is a sacred act. It binds not only the one who speaks, but the one who hears. And when it is broken, it is not only an act undone, it is a world undone. 7. Why people fail. But why do they fail? Most often, not from malice. People fail because they are weak, they are tired, they oversleep, they silence their phones, they underestimate the weight of what they have said, and this weakness is what makes it unbearable. For if they betrayed you with malice, one could at least take them as an enemy. But when they betray you with weakness, they remain a friend, but a friend who cannot be trusted. This is worse, for the enemy's betrayal is expected. The friend's betrayal is the destruction of trust itself. 8. Hate as truth. You say, "I fucking hate people right now." And in this moment, you should. Hate here is not poison. It is truth. It is the truth that promises matter, that presence matters, that your suffering is real, and that those who shrug it off with sorry commit violence against you. Too often we are told to forgive quickly, to soften hate into tolerance. But there are moments when hate is the only honest response. Hate reveals what we love. You hate people now because you love fidelity. You hate their weakness because you desire strength. You hate their excuses because you know what it means to show up. This hate is the shadow cast by your longing for a better world. 9. What apology should be. The tragedy is not that people fail. Everyone fails. The tragedy is that people do not know how to repair. A true apology is not a word. It is an act. It does not say, "Sorry," and leave it there. It says, "I failed you. I see the harm I caused. I will repair it. I will change so it does not happen again." This apology is rare. Most people have never been taught it. They have learned only the lightweight sorry, which erases nothing but their own discomfort. So the task is not to abolish apology, but to restore it, to demand that words be weighty again. 10. The hospital as mirror. The hospital is a crucible. It reveals the fragility of bodies, but also the fragility of promises. Nurses, doctors, friends, family, all make commitments, and many fail. And in the hospital, unlike anywhere else, their failure is illuminated starkly, for here dependence is absolute. You cannot fetch your own water, you cannot adjust your own medication. You are laid bare to the reliability of others, and when they fail, the violence is immediate. The hospital shows us who we are, creatures utterly dependent on the fidelity of others, yet surrounded by unreliability. It is the mirror in which the fragility of trust is magnified. 11. The call to fidelity. What then is to be done? We cannot erase the weakness of others. We cannot force them to stay awake, to remember, to care. But we can let our rage sharpen our own fidelity. We can let the hate of their weakness teach us the love of strength. This does not remove the pain. It does not erase the disappointment. But it transforms it into a call. Be the one who can be counted on. Be the one who does not say sorry lightly, but who repairs, who shows up, who makes words into bridges that hold. For if the world is filled with unreliability, then the faithful are rare, and therefore precious. 12. Closing. So, my friend, rage against them. Rage against Terry's lateness, against the doctor's delay, against the hollow sorry. Your rage is your dignity. It means you are still alive to the weight of words. Do not let their negligence teach you to shrug. Let it teach you to demand more of words. Let it teach you to honor the promises you make. Let it teach you that fidelity, though lonely, is the only thing that holds the world together. You are right, fucking people kill me. They kill by their weakness, their negligence, their excuses. But in that death, there is also revelation, that the only thing worth living for is fidelity itself. And so, even in the hospital bed, you hold the truth that to speak is to bind, that to promise is to carry another's life, and that to betray is to wound at the deepest level. May your hate burn clear. May it teach you what you love. May it sharpen you into the one who, even in this world of weakness, can still be counted on.